And we are live. You can catch us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So come check us out. We'll be right back with you, Howlers. We'll be right back.
House Over Baz. I'm Ronnie Adams.
And I'm Jacob Casas. And this episode is called Roaring 23. We are here with a special guest right now. So if we're going to have him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about what he does. This is all entrepreneurship right here. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Danny McGuire, and I'm in the nightlife business, the restaurant business, and also in the insurance business here in California.
So how long you been in the nightlife business for?
I've been in the nightlife business for quite a few years already. Ever since we're our younger teens, we were promoters from the back in the '90s, the backyard party scene back in the Rebel days and whatnot.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so we go back that far back, and then that evolved from doing backyards into doing nightclubs in Rosarito. So we were one of the first promoters to go into Rosarito before our Baja Beach Fest and all these other bigger events.
Oh wow. So you started as a promoter.
Yeah.
And then you built an empire.
Absolutely, yes.
So because we came upstairs seeing that you get people getting haircuts over here and everything.
Yeah.
We're like, you got a whole upstairs over here.
Oh yeah, no,
this place is amazing.
That's my marketing team. One of the best in the industry, and it's a matter. You want them to feel comfortable to be here as long as they want. So today we had a luncheon. The guys getting haircuts up here. So because when you're creating, you don't know at what time that idea is going to hit you. So these guys are allowed to be in here at whatever time they want, working on their projects and whatnot.
So you're a creator because the thing is, all this came from somebody's imagination.
Right.
So all this came from your mind. I mean, so you understand the whole moments of creativity when they come out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the part of that I enjoy the most is creating and working with my marketing team. I'm not a numbers guy. I don't deal with accounting as they report to me and whatnot. But I'm not here to count numbers or whatnot. My job is to create images, to create some that will drive traffic to what we do and hopefully help us have successful events.
That's awesome because, what I caught off that last part is he said, I'm not in that. I know what's going on, but I have a team that is doing what needs to be done so this whole production can be what it is.
Yeah, and I like that because that's my whole thing. I like the same part that you like. I like in my business. Right. I like the branding side. I like the look of things. I like all that, and I had to deal with it at the beginning, the numbers and all that kind of stuff. But later on, you let other people do that. You just handle the stuff that you like.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That's cool. Actually, he has the same mindset I got when it comes
Definitely.
to that, which is cool.
Right. You think about it. With multiple venues and in multiple counties, because every county is different. It's always
regulations.
We're working around the clock. Thinking about, what is downtown LA? What brings out people in downtown LA to our venue versus downtown San Diego? It's two different roads, even though we're in the same state. But it's trying to find these ideas that really help us out.
So you own Prohibition right here in downtown Riverside.
Right.
You own another restaurant I heard right here. What is the restaurant?
We just opened up a new restaurant here next door to DTE, which is called Estrella Taqueria.
Okay.
So it's basically, it's something that we wanted to do for such a long time because we own Prohibition for a long time, and then we have this nightclub. We have Salvatore's, which is Italian cuisine in San Diego, but we want to go back to our roots, which is, our family's from Mexico, and we want to touch those roots, and so we created the venue, which is Estrella, which is my mother's last name.
Oh, okay.
Keep it in the family.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we do with House Over Baz, we try to ask a lot of entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Like there's a foundation that a lot of entrepreneurs live by because, you got to understand. I mean, the people, our lives are different as business owners.
Correct.
It's not like the normal people. Like there's always a foundation that kind of keeps us grounded.
Definitely.
And what I wanted to ask is the first part that I deal with as an entrepreneur, and I know a lot of people that we interviewed, is God-fearing.
Right.
So where is that in your life? Are you a God-fearing person? Is he the foundation of at least what you're doing and things like that?
I believe so. You know, I mean, I'm not like a big time religious person. I can't tell you that I'm at church every Sunday.
Right.
But I mean, obviously, you know, I do acknowledge and I respect that He's the Creator, and I've been extremely blessed.
That's fire.
Myself and my family, and you know, we wouldn't be here had it not been for the upbringing that we had. That was, you know, we at that time as a kid, you're brought up
With the
not
background.
by choice, by that background.
Yes.
You know what I mean? When
Mom makes you go.
Oh yeah, we were going to church 4 or 5 times a week. I'm like, damn, how come the next year?
Right.
So, but definitely, you know, we grew up with a lot of morals, a lot of restrictions, and I think that led us to, you know, to grow up the kind of the way that we did, and you know, we have a partnership between me and my brothers, and we're very, very tight to this day.
That's what's up.
And I think that a lot has to do with that upbringing, having, you know, the religious upbringing that we have. But, you know, now as an adult, as busy as I am, you know, I don't get to go to church as much as I should, but I do keep a close relationship with God through prayer and whatnot. So.
And acknowledging that He is a lot. He's helping you all through.
Well, even being disciplined in that. I feel like parents back then helped us be disciplined even if we want to be.
Right.
Like, so it kind of helped that discipline in you to like be able to run a business and do things because you're like, my mom's making me go to church 5 times a week.
Right.
So you kind of used to the discipline aspect of things,
Oh, yeah,
right?
exactly. You know, so you think that as a kid,
That's
those
good.
things are not going to follow you as an adult, but they do. You know, those things that you were disciplined, like being at church 5 days a week, and having to get up. I mean, we were the only kids on the block having to wear ties and suits.
And had to get up early on a Sunday after a long day on Saturday.
You know, we grew up as, you know, our religion as kids was Jehovah's Witnesses. So
Oh, okay.
when we were in that church, we were knocking on doors. You know what I mean? At
Yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Or at the donut shop giving out the Awake and Watchtower. So definitely, there was a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
in our day, but-
So I wanted to get into leadership, right? So as an entrepreneur, as a man, I feel like in general, we talk about this with a lot of entrepreneurs. So a man, I feel like immediately is already, especially if you have a family and you have kids,
Right.
you're automatically put as a leader. It's like a gene in your body. You have to be a leader, right?
Right.
Because you got to lead your family, period, right? So you have no choice.
Right.
So I want to kind of get into that. So you have a big operation. You have a lot of places that you own, a lot of different businesses, restaurants, things like that.
Right.
That is like an ultimate leader of what you do. How do you become that leader, and what do you do on a daily basis to be the person that you are to lead these people?
I think that most important, you know, you build something that people will believe in, and they respect. They respect you for it. And
That's
they,
good.
They trust what you build, you know, and what happens is that you start to attract quality people that want to be on your team. You know what I mean? Now I have, you know, we have attorneys that work for us. We have accountants that work for us that, you know, went to, you know, some Ivy League schools and whatnot. So, but you know, you build a foundation that people, they want to be a part of, you know, I mean, they want to see you get to that next level. So, but you always, as the leader, you got to set the example of, you know, by your hard work ethics, come to work every day. I mean, these guys, anybody in these offices will tell you, Daddy's here at the office almost every day. I
Wow.
don't need to be, you know, I mean, I'm at that point where I could basically probably work mobile, but I understand that being here, being with my team, them knowing that I'm here with them is what's important.
Not even that, since you kind of have like the same mindset that I have when it comes to the branding things, you probably kind of love it.
Right.
Right, you probably love seeing the buildings that you guys built. And
That's
Yeah.
good.
You guys did things like the way you guys are doing things, building your brand, building the buildings. It probably gives you joy.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Yeah, you know, I mean, if you're here in Riverside or you pass through Riverside and you come across through downtown, you're going to see a building on the other side of the freeway that has our brands huge. You know, so we have a building because we have a whole other company on the other side of the freeway. But I took advantage of that building space I have. It's a humongous warehouse, and I built this huge banner with our brands on there because I wanted people to know when you're coming through Riverside. Just a reminder that we're here and we're in town.
This is your hood.
That's good. Yeah.
We run downtown Riverside.
Yes,
so.
sir. Yes,
good.
sir.
And rightfully so, you know.
That's right. I definitely want to go back a little bit to even the backyard
Right.
entertainment because that's huge. You know,
Correct.
growing up, what was your dreams and aspirations before you started all this whole production? Did you know, growing up, did you play sports or what was growing up like for you?
Well,
what was your dreams and aspirations before all of this?
Right. Well, going back to the sports thing is tied into the religion thing because of the religion that we're in, they dissuade you from joining. They were not being into sports teams and all that. So we were never allowed to play sports as kids, you know, which is tough, right? Because everybody's playing baseball or soccer. So, you know, and coming from a poverty background, we were forced to kind of get into to get to working at an early age.
Oh, so it was right at work.
Oh yeah, I remember
right away.
I remember being 13 years old and selling candies out of boxes through organization. But you know, we would come home from school about 4 o'clock, and by 5 o'clock, we're already on the streets.
So that's where a lot of your discipline came from too.
Going house to house selling you know, candies and whatnot, and so you know, it was not really, unfortunately, there wasn't that much time for sports. It was just.
But what did you really want to do at that moment and at that time when all of this was going on? What was in your heart to say, I want to do this in life?
You know, man, I think that I wanted to get out of the conditions that I was living in because you can't control that. You know what I mean? Your parents don't have the education, they don't have the resources. So, you know, I just remember, like, I want a whole different lifestyle for myself, you know, and I'm gonna go through what I gotta go through, and
the sky was the limit for you, the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
And
you know, and I think that when I turned 16 years old, we started. Back in those days, it was a party crew. The party crew was very popular in the
that's where we
90s.
wanted to go. Yes.
So I started to throw these backyard parties, and I seen the ability to make money promoting a backyard party, and from there, it took off from there.
Where was you throwing these backyard parties at?
We're throwing them in San Bernardino.
In the
So-
Dino.
yeah, the Dino.
We were
Yeah.
probably there. We were probably there.
Right.
So yeah, it started in San Bernardino. But what I had the ability to do is that I started chapters in different cities. So I went from San Bernardino. We went from Rialto to Pomona, San Diego, LA. So as time grew,
That's huge.
yeah. And so because we were, you know, and I was always basically the head of this organization as we grew. So when we grew to a certain extent, when we moved into Rosarito nightclubs or whatever, it was, you know, we created this system that even if you were at an 18 over nightclub in downtown LA or Hollywood or in Riverside or the Dino, we were flyering the whole area. You know, we would make 35, 40,000 flyers and cover such a vast area. Yeah, so and what happened is that, you know, we spent a lot of time in Rosarito. We built a nightclub. We owned a nightclub there for a
What
short period
nightclub
of
was
time. It was called Planet Rosarito, which is now where Senor Frogs is at.
Okay, yeah.
So Senor Frogs is right down the strip. That used to be our club for a short period of
Oh,
time.
wow.
But you know, we're young, and it wasn't our time. But it was, you know, it was definitely it was a learning lesson for sure.
Well, that's the thing is when you're young and you're trying to build something, those are the moments that get you to become where you're at now. a lot of the times if you don't go through those moments of trying to build something and maybe you failed, maybe it wasn't, you feel like it wasn't your time, you wouldn't be here where you are if you didn't go through that.
No, definitely. I mean, you need trial and error to learn from it, but if you're not learning from your mistakes and making the adjustments, then, you continue to make those until you only have so much opportunities in life, and if you don't learn from it so you could capitalize on the next one, then they all close, and then, your life passed you by, so.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's awesome how you started. Like, it was like,
As a promoter to this.
Yes.
Yeah,
And from religion, being in this
Discipline.
box, even discipline, but being in, you there's no activities, but this is what you do.
Right.
You're going to go to church, you're going to serve God, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's more to life, as you felt, than
Right.
just that.
Oh,
There's
definitely.
business, there's education, there's entrepreneurship.
Exactly.
And there's a whole world out there. And your mind was like, I'm in a box, but I got to get out of this box.
Right.
I got to experience more than just this, what I'm given and what I'm taught.
Right.
I love what I'm taught, because it's necessary.
Right.
But it's still more out there that I have to experience in this life.
Exactly.
And that's where you went to another level, in everything what you were taught in this and took it to another level.
Well, you got to have the determination. A lot of these kids out here, they're trying to make it in the nightlife, and but you can't just drive by motivation. Be motivated because you want to be driving the new
Lambo,
BMW and
yeah,
this shit. Because at one point that motivation runs dry.
Yeah.
You got to be determined, and when you get determined, you start putting plans together and you start putting goals together instead of just like, I want to be in that freaking the Lambo. I've had every single exotic car you could think about. I've done that already. I'm past that. But
What is it really about to you?
now it's just about building blocks to give people opportunity. Like, I'm good where I'm at. I could retire tomorrow and I'd be perfectly fine. But
That's fire.
I like to see the people working in this team and building stuff and let their creativity now just run with it. And working with these younger guys and seeing how much they're willing to push their self-abilities and whatnot.
It's the age, because I feel like I'm at that level too now. It's the age.
Right.
I feel like the older we get, the different mindset we have. Like the things that used to mean something mean nothing anymore.
Right.
That's good.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
that's kind of crazy to think about, because I just barely kind of hit that point in my time.
Right.
Now I'm like, I feel like the things that like meant so much to me when I was growing up mean nothing now. And it's more about building and creating, because we know that we build brick by brick.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? And because look at you, look what you've done.
Right.
I mean, if you really sit down, do you ever sit down and kind of sit back and just let, like, quiet the noise and just sit back and be like, dang, this is what I built?
Yeah. I try sometimes, but you're just like,
You're moving too fast
The next
all the
shit
time.
comes along and
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm going to hit this. And the next thing comes along and, to the point where like, where does it stop?
See, I have friends that do that to me sometimes. They're like, hey, sit back and look what you did.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I feel like that's a good thing to reflect on, but at the same time, I feel like it kind of gets in the way too, because you want to just keep moving.
Yeah,
Like it ain't enough.
But I promise you, I'm done. I'm not going to open no more things up. Let me just, I'll work with what I have. Because, the hardest part one of the hardest things I've learned to deal with is the power of saying no. Why? And what I'm referring to is that when you have built a label or a brand that people trust in you so much.
They trust now.
Yeah,
for sure.
You're going to have investors coming up and saying, I got $500,000 I want to invest. I got $250,000 I want to invest. And on the other side, you have these venues saying, we're out. Could you buy us out? And you look at it like, from the surface, it looks like a golden opportunity. And everybody's like, wow, this guy opened up another place. But at the end of the day, when everybody goes home, you're the guy there.
Dealing with it all.
Exactly. You're the one that's...
It's all on your shoulders.
That major decisions.
And that is when you feel like, okay, well, this is what I've got myself into, This is what I've built now.
This is great.
What am I going to come out with tomorrow? Everybody's gone. I'm here, so... And what do we do to drive traffic, to drive customers to this place? Because at the end of the day, they all went home. They came, they did their job. But at the end of the day, as the leader, it's my responsibility.
Right.
You know? So,
Everybody goes home and they depend on you for that check.
yeah.
And you're the one that has to put everything still on your shoulders.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that
And
struggle.
I think that's at the point where I'm at now. You know, I mean, at the point where, like, okay, I've opened enough venues. I have enough restaurants, nightclubs. I have 42 offices throughout California.
really?
And so basically, my other primary business is bail bonds. I've built a bail bond empire in California, probably one of the largest companies in California.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know that about me. Sometimes I do advertise it, but I've been doing that for such a long time. So imagine on top of the venues, on top of the restaurants, 42 bail bond offices, and that's through
Wow.
in California. That's in Texas, Idaho, Florida. So,
Nice. I want to say something real quick. Congratulations on your accomplishments.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's everything.
Thank you.
So with a lot of that being said, I kind of wanted to come up with, I have a question for you then. So this is a question.
And
that-
success.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the question I have is, I had this question asked to me before, and just to let you know how much I opened up to it when I talked about it is, I want to ask you when a time that you felt you had to be courageous in your business, but the thing is in order to be courageous, you had to go through fear. Now, fear is a big deal when you have a business. I'm sure you've been through the majority of like the massive amount of fear that you probably never thought you would have. Like,
Right.
like with me, I mean, I almost lost my business 3 times, and he was around for a lot of that time, and the amount of fear that I had trying to keep my business rolling, being negative in my bank account, and I had payroll the next day.
Right.
Coming to the point where I'm like, how am I going to do this? And we figured it out. We always end up figuring it out. But I wanted to ask you, because you're at a whole nother level than I am.
Right.
Right. Your businesses, you have multiple businesses, you have multiple locations.
Right.
Where is the moment you probably felt the most fear in your entrepreneurship life, where you had to be courageous and push forward from that?
I think that when your success hits a certain point, it's hard to understand this, but it took me some time to understand you, because the truth is you become a target. You know what I mean? You become a target, and lawsuits could collapse you. It doesn't matter how big you think you are, how strong you think you are, how invulnerable you think you are. But so that becomes the biggest fear factor, and the reason why is because you might be hit by somebody that you think is close to you, and then all of a sudden that person is the one filing a suit. So you learn to deal with that type of, I don't know if you want to say betrayal, what it is, but they see you for something that you had no idea about. You know what I mean? Everybody's seeing you as a dollar figure now, you know what I mean? And I remember when I was coming up, I wasn't at the point I'm at now, and I had a conversation with a successful person that was already at that level, and I remember they told me very clearly, it's going to get to the point where you got to build yourself a fortress of attorneys. Yeah. I had no clue what they were talking about, but
y'all listen up.
Target.
Listen up.
Yeah, they need to listen to this.
Listen up.
Because that's real, because I've actually been through that same thing. Probably not at your level, but betrayal and things that people that you thought that would have your back to the end of time.
Right, exactly.
And they completely try to destroy you, but you end up winning. Obviously, you keep winning.
Yeah.
You're still here, right?
Right.
And that's the same thing with me. I'm still there, and they're not. So at the end of the day, like, I feel like God does have our backs on that for some reason. Like, maybe we're the ones in the right.
Right.
At the end of the day, and I understand exactly what you're talking about.
No, yeah, definitely.
But people don't know that side. When people,
They think it's all bread and butter.
yeah, they think it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
exactly.
Entrepreneurship is just beautiful, vacations and all that. But we know the real.
Right.
So that's why I always want to talk to entrepreneurs on the real, because the people that want to get in it, they need to know the real.
I was talking to my business partner today, and the first thing that I explained was, you think this is just get in business, you have an idea, and everything's gonna flow if you're lucrative and you have, you're making money. I said, in real business life, people know you making money. They trying to figure out a way how to sue you.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You got the money, they want your money.
These people like, I'll wear a nice piece of jewelry sometimes, and people, you're not afraid to be worrying about that piece of jewelry? I'm not afraid about from the guy that's gonna fucking take, a fucking $5,000, $10,000 from a piece of jewelry from me.
Right.
I'm afraid of the fucking guy that's gonna fucking sue my ass
Right.
for 150, 250,000 because it's been done. I've been there before. So, as an entrepreneur, you gotta learn how to do shit right. You know what I mean? And I've had these conversations with a lot of these young guys, opening these marketing agencies and this and that. And I was like, you know what, man? I hope you protect yourself very well. And because at the end of the day, that's, the last person you think is going to come after you.
Right.
Does it make you close off on a lot of people?
It has now, definitely. I've changed. I've changed in that aspect of who I allow to get close to me. You know what I mean? And a lot of people be like, why you hang out with that guy? Like, he's not rich and he doesn't make no money because he doesn't want my fucking position.
Yes,
You know what I
thank
mean?
you, dude. That's exactly how it is.
Like, yeah, definitely. Oh, why you hang out with that guy? He ain't got no fucking money and he's not on your level because he don't want my fucking position because he don't want, he's cool with being in where he's at and where I'm at. You know what I mean? It's the people that want to replace
Real
you.
friends.
Exactly. You know
And
what I
that's
mean?
hard to find when you're an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because
You know?
even real friends that you thought were real friends end up becoming
No,
enemies.
man,
Those are
shit.
the ones who usually
Yeah, definitely.
you wouldn't expect it.
The people that have
mic on?
betrayed me in business have
I
been my
can't hear him.
closest friends. That's the truth.
Well, welcome, Rico. How you doing today? Hair looking fresh, man. So, yeah. His mic's on? It's good. It's good because I can't
He's
hear
good.
it. Okay, I was going to make sure. Okay, yeah, so that's like the part that I always want to give the people out there. And we're live on YouTube right now. So, that's the kind of information I feel like the people need. That's why we're a small percentage. Entrepreneurs, the
Right.
real business owners are a small percentage. So I dealt with I did on a smaller scale. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but regardless, that your friends become smaller and smaller and
Oh, yeah,
smaller
exactly.
the more you grow.
Definitely.
And I'm sure you understand that.
Well, you know what, man? It's like, it's a heartbreak that you get used to after a while because, it's part of fucking business, man. And if you don't, it got to a point where I was just like, man, get your fucking heart and your emotions out of this shit because it's obviously it happened once, it happened twice. And that's just, you know what I mean? It's someone that says I could be him. And that's cool. You know what I mean? Become me, but just don't do it on my coattails. You know what I mean? Don't do it being part of my infrastructure. Don't do it by fucking filing a dumbass lawsuit or fraudulent lawsuit against me or whatever. Because, and that's just what you learn in life. You learn, and your circle becomes small. You know what I mean?
He said that's a heartbreak you got to get used to.
That was
That's,
fire.
yeah, that is. Listen to that. That's gonna be a slogan right there.
Yes.
Because that's real. And people just do not understand that. People that
Right.
want to get in business, that's something they're gonna have to deal with no matter what.
You lose friends, you lose family,
Oh, definitely.
You lose support.
And I've lost them all. I've lost friends and family. I built one of the biggest bail bond empires in California. Very strong hold that we have on markets. And I'm in Sacramento. I'm in San Diego. I'm in Oakland. I'm in San Francisco. I'm everywhere. So, but it hasn't been. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of time away from my kids, on the road, building offices. So when I didn't inherit this. I built it.
That's
you know what I
right.
mean? So I learned to protect this with everything I got now. Because, like I said, the betrayal just happened once, happened twice, and the third time I was like, It happens now. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Good luck.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's hard to even hang out with people that you actually work with because you know that things can happen.
Yeah.
So you kind of like distance yourselves from that too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You hang around certain people like you said, that when they're telling you why you hang out with that person got no money.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they don't want what you need, what you got.
Absolutely.
And that's a whole different level of understanding. You're at a whole other level, and I understand what you're talking about when you say that.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes it takes people that kind of went through what you've been through to understand that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I could be fucking hanging around this guy and that guy, and you know, and I see a lot of these guys that make it big, and they're so fucking thirsty to hang around with artists and freaking famous people and this and that. I've been through that shit already. You know what I mean? I've hung out with top artists and top celebrities, and I've been to some of the craziest parties in Hollywood. But at the end of the day, that shit disappears. And
a lot of it is, and I want to say this. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go for it.
A lot of this is, you see, they wasn't there in the beginning, and now they want to show how can I be a part.
Oh yeah.
And how can I get what, how can I come up off of him,
Yeah.
or how can I get what he has,
Well, the thing is, too, we were just talking. So this is what you just said is crazy. So I haven't even hung around celebrities like at your level at all, right? And when I was younger, obviously you want to hang out with celebrities. I haven't even done that. I don't even care to do that.
Yeah.
So when he's talking to me, because we can get celebrities on this show.
Right.
And I was telling him, we were talking, I'm like, dude, I don't want celebrities on this show. I want real
talk.
We
Yes.
can get them later, maybe once in a while
Yeah.
for feed or whatever.
Right.
Right.
But in reality, I don't care.
Right.
I'm not going to be like sitting there like, oh my God, look who's here. I don't care.
No.
Exactly.
And we were talking about that because it doesn't matter, dude. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You reach a certain level in your mind. I'm not going to say even money-wise. In your mind, when you do things as an entrepreneur, you go through some crazy things, man.
Yeah.
Where as an entrepreneur, where you live through that, and you're like, people are just people.
It's about who
and
who
yeah.
relate to you.
And so when you talk to them, you want to relate with them on that level.
Right,
If
exactly.
they're just like out there, you're like, you might as well call them out right there then.
Right.
Because that's where we're at. Like, I feel like let's just talk business. I want the people to understand, because a lot of the times they're not going to even understand where you went through.
Right.
You're going to scare a lot of people from wanting to be business owners. Over.
Right.
I mean,
Because
reality.
and you also see your support system in the beginning and how they didn't support you in the beginning. We talk about this a
Right.
lot, and
yes.
then all of a sudden
you should get to that.
Now
You should
that
ask them that question. That's a good one. The
Yeah.
support system. one.
Yeah. So what is your support system like? Like who's
Who's your biggest support
yeah?
system?
Who's your biggest support system
Well, my partners are my
from the
brothers.
beginning to the end?
I would have to say my brothers, man. They're my partners.
That's good.
You got 5, right?
There's 5 of us all together. And you know what? Fuck, man, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the partnership that we've created. And, we keep each other in check. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I am part of the nightlife. And, a lot of stuff comes along, and the partying and the women and, so everybody goes through it. I think that's in the nightlife. But, they've been, where I was kind of slipping, they would come to the time like a kid, hey, sit your ass down. Like, don't look at it. You see all this shit that we created, like, you're going to fuck it off, by, making mistakes or with this and that. So, they've been, we're together through the good and the bad. So it's an amazing fucking support system
So
that
they're the
that
biggest
we have.
support system for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Your brothers. That's what's up.
And I see
Yeah.
that you guys raised, grew up in San Bernardino?
Yeah, San Bernardino, Muscoy.
So I grew up in Rialto, right on the
Oh,
other side
okay.
of the train track, right? You know what I mean? Literally, right,
Oh, really?
right there, yeah. So,
In North Rialto.
North Rialto.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right there by the 15, and then but
Yeah,
now they have the
absolutely.
210. So,
Right.
but that's crazy. So, because the area that you grew up in, now it's better, but back then, oh my,
Yeah, it was.
my mom wouldn't even let me go to schools.
No,
going
yeah.
towards that way.
It was
like,
bad.
You know what I mean? It was bad. So for you guys to
San Bernardino is San
But
Bernardino.
you know what, man?
to come out with you, and then you're here now, like it's a testament. Like,
But when you're growing up there, to you, it's like
not bad.
normal.
Yeah,
Like, this is
exactly.
normal.
You're used to it.
And then one
It's
time
bad.
this incident happened, I remember the train derailed or some shit, and the news was covering it. And they're like, we're here reporting live from a area that's below poverty line. I'm like, what the fuck?
What's going on?
I live in a
This is
below
real
poverty
life.
line. Fucking neighborhood. What the fuck happened to me here?
But it don't feel like that when you're growing up.
Well,
and
yeah,
you're
it's
kids and you're
normal, you
playing
know what I mean?
around,
Right.
You don't see it.
You don't
that
see
way.
that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're not privileged, but like, fuck, below poverty line. That was, you know what I mean? That was like Mexico type of shit. But
He said, "I'm back there."
yeah, I was like, oh, fuck, all right. I better get the fuck out of here somehow.
That's right.
So I wanted to ask you this. I have a couple, but what I really want to ask you. So right now, you're obviously at a different level. When I was talking to you right now,
Right.
You're at a different level in your mind, how you deal with things, and I actually like talking to you about that because I haven't met any entrepreneur that said what you said.
A
Right
lot
now,
of things.
Yeah.
because you're at a different level in your mind.
Right.
And I feel like I'm barely reaching that level.
Right.
But I like the stuff that you're saying. So what would be? I have a different question. Like, okay, so with you, what would be your fight right now? What is your fight in life, in entrepreneurship? Because I feel like you're fighting a different fight than most business owners, most entrepreneurs. Your fight's a little different
Right.
because your mindset's different.
Yeah.
So if you were to look and say, okay, this is my biggest fight as an entrepreneur right now, what would you say would you consider your biggest fight right now?
I think that my biggest fight right now is kind of like reprogramming my thought process and to, because you become this machine that you make shit successful, right? And then all of a sudden you think you have this fucking vulnerability that and then everybody's around you's telling you everything you touch turns gold and everything you fucking do is successful. I'm like, well, fuck it, I guess so I'll take on another fucking responsibility. I'll take on another fucking investment.
They don't see what you go through to
Right.
make it successful.
Exactly. So I think
Outside
that
looking in.
right now I'm like reprogramming my brain, like, hey, motherfucker, you're done. Like, you better slow your roll. You know what I mean? Go fucking enjoy the fruits of your labor. You know what I mean? The shit that you haven't enjoyed.
Because I think with the news, the downtown, the LA prohibition is only been open for a couple months now.
Oh yeah, the new nightclub is
The new
Lash.
one,
Yeah,
Lash,
the LA Social House.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah. So, but you know what I mean? Like, that's a project that you got to get going. You know what I mean? And some, there's already been a little bit of trial and error with that. So, but it's LA. You know what I mean? Now we're playing with the fucking big boys. You're in downtown LA now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you gotta fucking take away from Hollywood, from West Hollywood. You know what I mean? And downtown LA has went through this transition that hasn't been the best. You know what I mean? People don't look at downtown LA like they did
Especially in the last 20
10
years.
Yeah, dude, fuck. Dude, I remember I used to go, 20 years ago, and that was a place to be at. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Especially, you're a
Yes.
Latino, and they had the most happening clubs were there. So, you didn't really hear of Latinos going to West Hollywood and Hollywood. That shit wasn't our shit back then. But all that shit's changed, you know what I mean? And now everybody wants to be in West Hollywood or Hollywood and fucking LA. Downtown has all the fucking bums and, and all this fucking housing going on. So, so it's been challenging, but you know what? It's good because I needed a challenge like that.
That's
you know what I
right.
mean? Like, you get in your comfort zone where shit's easy. Like, fuck, this is successful. That night's successful. Like, the club below us is a fucking crazy-ass success story. From the minute I opened up, the shit hasn't stopped yet. It's been open for, a little bit right before pre-COVID.
Yeah, I saw this place being built.
Right.
Yeah.
During COVID, I would be going over here because the
Oh,
place
really?
was still open.
Yeah.
And I saw it being built.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that success story then with this.
So with this, we bought this building probably about 15 years ago. It was empty for about 17 years.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what happened, man. I had my corporate offices in San Bernardino. I was leasing a building, and I was going to relocate. I was looking for these fucking beautiful buildings and, on the outskirts of Riverside, because at that time, downtown Riverside was a fucking dump. There wasn't no...
Right.
This nightlife didn't exist here, you know what I
Right.
mean? The only thing that happened, was going on was Mario's, and that
It was a
like...
ghost town.
Yeah, it was a ghost town.
Seville, that was on the other side of the bridge.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, Sevilla's on the, but what you call this area,
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
ghost town, So one time, I'm looking for property for my office, and one day I went out to New York, and I stood there for a couple weeks, and I was in Manhattan, and I just seen how vibrant the fucking downtown was, you know what I mean? I was like, man, we don't gotta have that in fucking Riverside, but at least we could have some energy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I took a flight back, and I was like, man, fuck that. I'm not going to look in the outskirts. I'm going to downtown, you know what I mean? And I already had about 150 employees that were coming to work, in and out. So I found this building. This building was abandoned for 17 years. It used to be an old architect building. Those were the last people that had it. And it was a fucking dump, man. And I remember just our brothers thinking, like, what the fuck are we doing here? Seriously, like, what are you doing to us, man? And I was like, no, man, this shit could work.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
This shit could work. And, we had some capital. We didn't have crazy capital, but enough to fucking put a nice little makeover on this place. It didn't look like it does now. But,
Right.
Nice little paint, flooring, and it was just... I came back from New York with the vision to bring to downtown Riverside, and We fucking beautified this building. I brought my fucking people in here. Abandoned for 16, 17 years. All of a sudden
That's
now,
crazy. I had no
Hey,
idea.
I'm blown away because
Yeah.
this is what hit me is this place has been abandoned for 17 years. That says that a lot of people tried to get this building. A lot of people tried,
Right.
You know, which was unsuccessful for 17 years. It's just nobody just didn't stop at the door and be like, oh, let's just look at it.
Yeah.
People tried to get in here, so they
Yeah.
had to trust this man to turn this downtown Riverside around. They had to put some type of trust in you.
Yeah. No, yeah, you know, and even at the first, the owner was like, man, fuck, you sure you want this place, man? I was like, I'll take it, man. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So,
Damn.
so think about it. This corner was empty, you know what I mean? And so I brought all my employees. At that time, they were mandated to wear ties, and you know what I mean? We had like a formal business attire, and I had a bunch of fucking beautiful women working for me too. So from one day to the next, this building goes up, and all of a sudden now you have a bunch of younger dudes coming looking like the front of the GQ magazine, you know, beautiful ladies coming to work as a full-on professional place, you know what I mean? So we opened this place up 4 or 5 years later, and then, you know, after work, we'd hit the bars, and I'd be like, this fucking place is like, all the bars here suck, man. Mm-hmm. And I found Prohibition, and, you know, so that's the story about Prohibition. It used to be a Cajun joint, some jazz, this and that, but the owner was done. He said, give me $100,000 and I'm out of here. And
See, I want to ask you about Prohibition then, because honestly, I love the concept, the name Prohibition.
Yeah.
I loved everything that you did. That's why I named this Roaring 23.
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah.
The episode. I love the name. I love it. How'd you come up with that whole concept?
you know what? At that time, we had kind of been out of the whole nightlife for quite some time because we took a step out of that whole scene when we got into the bail business and really got deep into it. So all our focus went into building this bail bonds empire. But when Sevilla's first opened up, we were the first promoters that were actually at Sevilla's. So we became friends with the manager there, which his name was Miguel. Miguel ended up leaving Sevilla's to go to Long Beach to go start his own shit. So anyways, fast forward to when we bought Prohibition, we had a very good relationship with Miguel, and he came on as a consultant to help us bring a theme and whatnot. So he brought that theme to us. So we owe this guy a lot of thanks, and we opened up Mezcal after, and then we sold Mezcal, but we sold it to him because we knew it was going to be in the right hands.
That's
a lot
right.
of people wanted Mezcal. Like,
That's good.
I'll buy it, but we're like, no way, dude, this is downtown Riverside, you know what I mean? Like, even though we knew he was going to be a fierce competitor, we knew it had to be somebody that was going to fucking continue to share our vision. You know what I mean?
Trust it with.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
cool. I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
So
So you want to go to that other one?
I want to ask this question.
Go do your thing. I have some too.
First question I have is, what do you love as a CEO, business owner, entrepreneur? What do you love most about what you do?
I love to have the last word, the last say so.
I love that part too. I do.
I love having the last say so.
Hey, that was yes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, that's,
Holler.
you know.
Holler, for sure.
Because that a lot of times, I mean, look what you built though.
Right.
It's kind of like, well, shouldn't you have the last word? And even since, because the branding you've done, the things that you've accomplished.
Correct.
It's kind of like, come on, you don't trust my last word anyways.
Howler. He said howler.
Howler. That's howler stuff. Exactly. I like that. I love that.
And what are you most thankful for?
I live a very blessed life, man, and to be able to give my kids, you know, that life. I mean, you know, last week we're on a fucking yacht going to Catalina, surrounded by fucking dolphins, and you know, that's the shit that they're growing up with. You know what I mean? And
Putting smiles on their faces.
oh yeah.
You mind? We ask the ages of your kids?
Yeah, sure. I have a 16-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
Wow, they living a great life.
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
This is a beautiful time.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? That's that's the drive now, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's the drive, and you know, trying to get my lazy ass 16-year-old to get over here and work with me.
That's right.
I'm
That's
like,
right.
hey, dude,
That's
I
the
ain't gonna
next
be in this
step.
position for the rest of my life. You gotta fucking step up.
You're doing this for them. So
Yeah.
that, and, you know, when you want to, you know, so he could be the boss.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't
man.
want to hustle like we do.
Hell no,
it's
they
just
don't.
so different. They're like, Dad, you got this.
Yeah, exactly. Dad, you know, my 11-year-old was like, Dad sent me, cash at me $150.
Dang,
Why don't you fucking go wash my cars? And I mean, save me
that'll
that
be,
bill.
that'll be the worst wash ever, too.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
You got to do something to get this money, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, for
We'll
sure,
run
man.
5 miles. And I'll give
Man,
some
you got to
money.
do
But
something.
you know, I mean, it's scary too because they're growing up so fortunate that they're like, well, fuck, are they not gonna have a drive when they?
You're
You
right.
know what I mean? Like it's kind of scary too. Like okay,
Yes.
like my time's coming. I don't want to be doing this shit for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like I'm
want
gonna
a
check out.
vacation.
Yeah, exactly.
Do things.
But you want to be able to say, okay, well, I'm gonna pass this on to at least one of them. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and that's the scary part about knowing, thinking like, okay, when I'm ready to step down, which one of those guys is gonna be able to step up?
You see, I have 2 kids, and I'm very strict with them. I'm probably not strict as I should be, but I'm getting more strict with them now too. Because I think the same thing. And I have my kid running, he's in football, he's doing a bunch of different things, and I'm pushing him hard,
Right.
like he's never been pushed before. And I feel like I'm doing that because I want to prepare him.
Right.
I do want him to have his own business. He's actually trying to develop something right now. He's only 13 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm trying to develop them into doing that. So I'm trying to give that to them because I know
Right.
what will happen is they can go off and be nothing, or if, let's say I have a business, they can destroy it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I keep thinking that in my head, so I know that as a parent, as an entrepreneur, we usually give them too much leeway
Yeah, exactly.
where they can destroy your businesses.
Right.
You know, everything you built could just go to
Oh, yeah,
crap.
because-
Or they won't be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to, you know, and I learned this recently, man, that, you know, I had my kid working with me right here, a 16-year-old, in the design, in the marketing department. It just wasn't his, you know, I could tell he wasn't vibing, so he had some money saved up, and he went and he bought himself this power washer and this trailer, basically a setup to wash trash bins. And I was like, what the fuck you want to be washing trash bins when you got a job here with me, you know what I mean? But I didn't get it at the time. So like like I was like, you know, and it took me a minute to catch, like, that's his vision, that's his goal, you know what I mean? Like, but there's still a hustle behind that.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
You know what, though? That's actually pretty interesting.
That's great.
Because I kind of like it because at the end of the day, he's still going to do some grimy work.
Right, exactly.
And he'll be back.
Yeah, he definitely
He'll be back.
He's
I can work for my dad and do less labor.
Yeah, give him a couple of years on that, and then he'll be like, "I'm done, Dad. I'm coming back." I hated it. I hate smelling like trash.
Right? Exactly.
But it's actually good that he's doing that because it's giving him that hustle. It's giving him that hard work. But when he comes back, and I feel like I feel like we gotta give, as an entrepreneur, we gotta give our children that hardcore hustle. Still.
Right. No, you have to.
They need to come from. They need to feel a little. They're not going to feel what we felt.
Right.
But a little bit of the gutter, like at least a little bit of the
But you
gutter.
don't want them to feel that.
No, you don't.
I mean, my
Easier
son.
said than done.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
See, I hear you guys talking about our children and, you know, how we want to prepare them and make sure that they're ready to even support us in our business.
Right.
So my son, you know, he was, I'm going to say when he was 19, I don't want to say his age now. When he was 19 years old, I still was in almost as, you know, this is my son. I'm going to take care of him. I'm going to make sure he's straight, which is always good. But it was almost like I was holding him back from being great himself. I was still making grocery lists for a 19-year-old child. Like, hey, son, what you want for groceries? You know, while he should have been, like, working, helping me out. Yeah, bringing groceries into the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm still stopping after I get off my business journey. Hey, you know, you want anything from In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A? Where he at home, he should have been doing that for me. Like, Dad, I know you're on your way home. You know, want me to stop and get something to eat. You know,
They're doing this.
But they're doing this.
Exactly.
So I almost mess, you know. But now he's a beast. You know, his entrepreneur mindset is there. You know, he owns his own car, 22 Audi 8. You know what I mean? He's working, so he's.
So you got blessed. You know what I mean?
I almost
blessing.
held him back from that by still babying him and not pushing him forward to be
Right.
great.
I feel like it's kind of hard for entrepreneurs sometimes because you want to give them. My sister's an entrepreneur. I know you're watching, Cal, but like a lot of times you give them too much.
Yes.
And because you're like, I didn't get that when I was young. I want to give them everything, but then they start being bratty.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And then you got to punk them.
Less drive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and their drive is not like nowhere near what yours.
What
was.
yours
Right.
is.
and I think that's society's issue in a whole, because no matter in what bracket you fall, I think nowadays compared to like when back then you didn't have it, you're just not going to get it. Now everybody finds a way to provide that, not knowing like, hey, am I spoiling my kid too much? You know what I mean?
And I feel
Right.
like I was doing that, and I just recently just stopped. So
Yeah.
I made sure that I'm going a little harder on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's, as an entrepreneur, that's a big deal as an entrepreneur. So I feel like entrepreneurs need to know this, like business owners need to know this about their kids. If not, they're gonna basically disable them
Yeah.
from being an entrepreneur themselves or in life.
Right,
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
No, we got to definitely get back as a society to say no to our damn kids and make them work for it. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, problem in a hole
It
right
has
there.
to be a habit sometime if you're going too hard, giving them. You're like, hey, that no word got to flow off my mouth constantly now. They're taking advantage.
Do you have some questions, Rico? I know you had some questions. I got a lot, but like you go do your thing.
What makes you like when sometimes I know when the business it might not be as successful as you want to or move as fast as you want to.
Right.
What makes you get up and still want to keep doing it instead of just being like, you know what, I got this many businesses, I don't need this. What makes you want to keep still trying to put energy and time into that one business that's doing?
That's actually a good question.
Yes.
I like that one a lot. So like, because you're successful right now, right?
Right.
And he already said that he
Yeah.
could stop. He said, I can stop
So
doing
let's go-
everything
let's
right now.
go back when, right? Like when he was saying what he said. Let's go back like a little bit back further when you were like still having to figure it out.
Right. I think even now, you know what I mean? Like, you know, let's just take, for example, LA. You know what I mean? I thought I was going to open up this place and that hundreds of people were going to come. You know what I mean? And that hasn't been the case. It's been, I wouldn't say humbling because I'm kind of like past it. Oh, it humbled me. No, this is what you asked for. You know what I mean? So when we do an event with a promoter and that event doesn't go good, you know, we all have somebody to answer. So I answered, my partner is my brother, and so he's like, well, what happened? You know what I mean? You brought this freaking cat over here. You know what I mean? But I'm so into what I do that when, let's just say a Saturday night event went whack, you know what I mean? And it happens, you know what I mean? Like, there's been times where I've been in that club and it was just me and my girl in there, you know what I mean? Just, we're the only ones in there. But I said, you know what? Fuck this. You're going to sit your ass here and you're going to go through it. You know what I mean? Because I'm sitting there in an empty-ass venue and feeling like, hey, if you don't want to see this shit happen again, then you better be at freaking the office with your team on Monday saying, hey, guys, we got to get fucking back to work because whatever we did, it didn't work.
And that's why you stay here and glued every day.
Exactly. You know what I mean? But that's the
That's how it
drive.
is, even with me. So I work at your Riverside Prohibition,
Right.
as one of the promoters.
Correct.
And Adam actually brought me in. Thanks, Adam.
Right.
He so the first night we opened, we almost sold out all the tables.
Right.
And I brought the amount of people I had and buyers or whatever. But then I want to say probably 2 weeks after that, it was like where it was only half of the club in there.
Right.
And then it makes you feel a certain way like, damn, what did I do wrong?
Right, exactly.
You want to put it all on you, but you can't. It's just like you said, the next week you got to see what
Show
you did
up
wrong.
again.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You show up
definitely.
again, and then figure out what you did wrong, and then don't do it again, and then proceed from there.
Right.
But if you give up, I mean, you're more likely to succeed not giving up by just giving up. Like, you know what I
No,
mean?
yeah, definitely. You know,
You
you
work
could
on
go to your, you know, I could be in my house for a couple of days and hide, and I want to come out, but you know, it's not gonna get me nowhere. You know what I mean? The way that I work, by Monday, I'm like a fucking horse trying to come out of fucking hit the races. You know, I want to get back in my office. I want to sit down with my team and be like, okay, guys, something went wrong. Let's try to fix it. And you know, I mean, some things work and some things don't, but. You know, it's part of the business process, and it doesn't matter. You know, I could have this fucking place erupting here at DTE. I could have my restaurant in San Diego That's one of the most fucking sexiest restaurants in downtown San Diego. Very freaking beautiful women. It's a straight Miami vibe. But, you might have that there, and you might have my other restaurant not do so great. You know what I mean? So it's never going to be a fucking fairy tale story. You know what I mean? That shit doesn't exist,
So as a business owner, entrepreneur, CEO,
Yeah.
do you feel like you always have something to prove?
At this point, yeah.
You know what? It's not that you have something to prove. It's that you take it personal when you don't succeed. You know what I mean? Like,
That's good.
I'm better than that. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I know that I'm better than that. And and that's what brings out that shark in you. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, I need to come back from this. You know what I mean? Because I know that I could do better. And I'm very self-competitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yourself,
Very self. Yeah, like, hey, I talk to myself a lot, not because I'm fucking crazy, but
If you answer back, then you're when you answer back, then
I'm
you're
living that same life.
Don't answer back. Don't answer back.
shit, man, I'm like,
I'll answer back and everything. We go through all kinds
Hey,
of
we
stuff.
go through all kind of schizophrenic when I'm like on the road.
And then when I see my friends, I'm going, what's up? I'm normal. As normal as I can be.
Yes, for sure.
yeah, but for sure, man.
That's real, though, because, I mean, as an entrepreneur, life is just completely different.
Right.
So when something doesn't succeed the way you want it to, you take it personally. I mean, I feel like me, personally, I'm not on your level, but let's say, like, I'll take it personal a different way where, like, in my mind, I'm still like, fuck it, I'm still going to do this tomorrow. Like,
Right.
it's not stopping.
Right.
But then when you see people looking at you, you're like, motherfucker, stop looking at me like that.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? I know I'm better than this.
Yeah.
I know I can make this do better, but today just wasn't the day.
Right.
But these people don't look at it like that.
Right.
They're looking at you like, what's going on here? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
exactly.
Like, and that's annoying. So I know where you're
Yeah.
coming from on that, especially when you built what you built.
No, yeah.
And then they're like, hey, what's going on with today? And they're looking at you like, why are you looking at me? Why don't you look at yourself?
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like why is it always on
Well,
me? 100%.
You know what I mean? For example, when I was in LA that day, I was the only one in there, except the bartenders. The bartenders like, I will work anywhere. I came here because I believe in your brand. You know what I mean? So I look at them like, fuck, he's going for the price. They're like, what happened to this guy? Where's the people at right here? We're here to work. You know what I mean? But it's a good team. You know what I mean? And they understand that, shit happens. You know what I mean? But they're very supportive. I have an amazing team across the board with our bartenders, our servers, our bottle service team, that even if we have a slow night, they understand and they believe in the brand to the point where like, hey, you know what? We're going to bounce back.
But it took a while for them to get to that point, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Because a lot of the times people would look at you differently, huh?
Right.
And then you had to get to the point you're at now, and those are the times that you had to fight through that most people can't do.
Right.
So a lot of people, I know people personally that have businesses that were making like a lot of money their first
Right.
couple of years, right? But then something happened and they couldn't get those looks. And
Right.
they couldn't not have as much money as they could, so they shut it down. And they still could have fought through that.
Right.
But they decided not to because the look of things wasn't up to par for them. But that's the difference between a real business owner, entrepreneur.
Right.
Because for sure, owning clubs, you've had to get those looks.
Oh, yeah,
Why is it
definitely.
empty, right? And then
Yeah.
you're feeling like, damn. But you're
Right.
still like, all of you, I'm still going to do this tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do this the
definitely.
next day. But there's people that don't do that.
Absolutely. No,
And they
yeah,
give
exactly.
up.
Right.
Yeah, but that's, you know what I mean? And I've seen a lot of people come in here with a lot of big dreams and aspirations, but it takes more than just building a beautiful venue. You know what I mean? Because I could get a couple of people and raise capital and go build a beautiful venue, but you got to have, you got to have a certain element in your DNA to be like, hey, you know what? I can bounce back from this. You know what I mean? I got to make adjustments here. I got to make these adjustments there. And, I've bought, 3 or 4 venues off of people that just, they couldn't. You know what I mean? They couldn't take, they couldn't humble themselves. You know what I mean? They couldn't take the humility. They couldn't say, well, fuck, how do I bounce back from an empty venue? How do I bounce back from multiple unsuccessful events? And it's just, you just got to find that proper adjustment. It's there. You know what I mean? I think any business has the opportunity to be successful as long as you don't give up and you don't get in over your head with anything, because you get in over your head, then you start thinking about the overhead and shit and this and that, and that shit's gonna fucking bury you. You know what I mean?
How often do you meet with your team, with your pack, with your brothers, and meetings and what you guys are doing and where you guys are going and what needs to be completed or what needs to be, done?
I think that we work together very, very consecutively, maybe about 3 days a week. Yeah,
That's
very,
a
very
lot.
extremely tight. Yeah,
Yes, that's a lot to have
yeah,
meetings.
definitely. And you know, I mean, you got an empire of 40 plus bail bond offices, employees all over the place. You got call centers. So
Can you see any different challenges between your clubs, your restaurants, and your insurance business? Is there any different challenges that you would say?
I think so. Yeah, definitely. The elements are different when it comes to bail bonds versus having restaurants and venues or whatever the case is. But man, at the end of the day, it's no matter what you do in whatever business, you want to drive traffic to it. You know what I mean? You want to drive traffic, and obviously you want to make sure that your staff takes care of your clients. You know what I mean? I can't be in fucking Oakland and San Diego. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's tough, man.
It's a challenge trying to make sure that even when you can't be there, that everything is operating in the way it's supposed to be operating, because I can't be there physically.
I think that's when you know you're successful, when you don't have to show up to work.
Yeah.
And the work is still working for you.
Right, definitely.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people say I'm successful because I have a lot of money.
Right.
But you're still stressed out. You're still having to go down and correct certain things.
Right.
So what do you call successful? Not as far as money, but like successful as far as like made it to a certain point where you're comfortable, as far as trusting other people in your staff.
Right, definitely. I think that it's, you don't measure success by money. I mean, fuck, dude, you could make $1 million and fucking 1.2 and then work, you know what I mean? So
That was a great question. He said, what do you consider, or what is being successful in business?
I think you got to build a very good foundation, you know what I mean? Because money's going to come, but just like money comes, money's going to fucking go right out the back door, you know what I mean, on expenses and whatnot. But I think the goal of any business should be
To be
try to
still
make-
in business.
yeah, you got to make a profit. You know what I mean? You got to fucking make a profit, and it's a science, it's mathematics. I'm not that fucking great at it, but I'm fortunate to hire people that are great at it. You know what I mean? So
I love that.
At the beginning, you were though.
yeah, no,
That's the
definitely.
difference.
You have to be. I didn't have that.
Yeah, exactly. At the beginning, I was too.
Right.
But now I have people doing that for me too.
right.
So I understand that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're who you are on making a business, your vision, your marketing, the look of things.
Right.
And that's pretty much how I am. And I feel like I relate with you on that. And you get everybody else in their position, because you got to
Right.
be the person above it looking at it all.
Yeah, definitely.
You're more visual.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, some of the problems I see with some of these guys that are starting out, they want to be driving that fucking brand new Mercedes-Benz. They want to be having that fucking luxury-ass apartment.
And it's
then-
too early for that.
Exactly. And then you go get yourself a girl that, and she wants the Louis and she wants this. Like, instead of being the team member and saying, hey,
Talk about
I'm going
it.
to support you. We're going to go get this together.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because, I remember going through a bad relationship like that when I first started the business. And this girl wanted to be out and fucking, she wanted me to, I didn't know what the fuck Louis Vuitton was until she brought it. You know what I mean?
That's good. Teach that.
But I was just barely starting out. You know what I mean? I was like, I ain't doing that shit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
That's fire.
Yeah, so we do
Talk
a
about that.
dating and relationship podcast with a lot of girls. We added that to our roster, and a girl, the dudes need to hear this, because, I mean,
That was awesome for me.
We ain't bads. That's we say that's bads dudes that go ahead and take care of girls.
Right.
They
because
see you
they're
got a
pretty,
little money, and
you know,
all of
yeah,
a sudden,
exactly.
and it's like, nah, just do what you need to do with them and move on.
no, yeah, definitely. I see guys right now, you know what I mean, that they're chasing paper, but they're not chasing paper for the bank. They're chasing paper for the
girls.
I got to maintain this relationship. Like, no, you don't got to maintain it, brother. Like, let that shit go.
And then even
You know what I mean?
nowadays,
Because she ain't going to pay your fucking bills when she's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and she will be gone.
Oh, yeah,
She
definitely.
will be gone.
because there's going to be somebody always making more money
Yeah.
than.
No, yeah,
They see someone at
Yes.
another level, they'll hit that.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
they see you hit another level, they'll come back to you, or they'll see someone else. They're just gonna keep going.
No, yeah, absolutely. And I know a lot of fun, amazing women out there that are self-sustained. They have their own little businesses. They're not out there fucking mooching down dudes or whatever the case is. And
But they're
you know,
rare. They're more rare. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's rare, but it's out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, you know, I mean, some guys are, you know, like you can't just put yourself in a position where you're chasing something like that, and half of your fucking earnings are going
To
to
that.
that shit. You know what I mean?
And what caught me in the beginning and when he first spoke, he said, when I first started off, I had this young lady that was trying to get in my pockets. It's like, hey, I'm just starting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She
That
seen
was
the
the key
potential.
for me.
Oh, yeah, bro.
She couldn't see, like, dang, we ain't even there yet.
man,
And
bro,
you
you don't
want
know.
Louis Vuitton? Wait till I
You
get
don't know,
there.
bro. I to this day, I think about. I look back at that situation. I thank God. Like, I
Dodge
don't
the
think
bullet.
I'd be here today if I didn't have the power attack. I'm out. She was gorgeous. She was, you know, hot. But I was just like, nah, man. I had to put shit on the scale and be like, nah, it ain't worth it, man. I'm out.
Yeah, there's like 20 more of you now, right?
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Yeah, absolutely,
Like
bro.
they're all over the place.
Yeah,
got 10.
definitely.
10. Okay. So you I know you got another one, right?
So and that's what. And speaking more on that, a lot of people, especially guys, as far as entrepreneurs, they don't. I don't think they take enough time to invest back in themselves. So they
Right.
get that 50,000, 30,000, and they'll go buy something to look cool for everybody else,
Right.
but don't realize you're supposed to put it back in you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely.
You're supposed to water your own plant because everybody's not going to do it for you. Because when your plant's dead, then you're looking around like nobody got me now. All my money's gone.
Yeah.
And nobody's around.
Exactly. I don't think a lot of people know how to invest back in themselves. Was it kind of hard for you when you first went to the bank and you seen this amount of money and you was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Coming from where you came from,
Right.
Was it kind of hard to budget your money? And
I think it was very self-disciplined, man. You know what I mean? And I don't even know how because I'm a spender. You know what I mean? But I just knew the importance of like, I didn't want to be fucking stressing out. How do I pay my electricity bill? How am I going to keep my employees? And so, you know what I mean? I would get this fucking money that would come in. It would go straight from the safes to the banks. You know what I mean? Even if it was cash. Like, I know a lot of people would be like, oh, no, you'll keep the cash. I'm like, fuck that, man. Every fucking last penny goes to the fucking bank. And, you know what I mean?
You know you best.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm, you know what I mean? Fuck, dude, I will go, you know, buy something. But it took me time to get to that point. You know, a lot of cats see me nowadays, and but they just see they see this day. You know what I mean? They don't see the fucking struggle that I went through. I've been in this
Right.
fucking game. You know, I've been at this for 20 plus years.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't always fucking these nightclubs and and fancy cars or whatever the case is. Now, you know, these people coming in across me like, well, fuck, look where this guy lives. Yeah, bro, but you didn't see
the
my
sweat.
struggles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of the struggles is being self-disciplined. You know what I mean? You gotta
love
be
it.
self-disciplined, not to fucking spend. You know
I
what I mean?
love
Don't
it.
touch that fucking money. You know
I
what I
love
mean?
it.
Because if you do, a rainy day's gonna come,
Right.
and you're gonna be shot of luck. You
I
know what I
love
mean?
it. And that's why it's important.
no, go ahead.
And that's why it's important that even when we do find, you know, that marriage or that right one, is to make sure that she's the same also, you know, because at the end of the day, you get a big spinner coming in. You know, it's okay
Are
to
the right ones?
if you have the right ones, as he say, maybe all of them would be spending, taking something out of the pot, you know. But it's so important that we do find that person that has that mentality like us. Yes, like he said, it's okay to spend, but you got to know you have to have that money set aside for either other business opportunities or a rainy day. You know, that's just how life is. You know,
Yeah,
if you
definitely.
just spend, Louis,
Yeah,
and,
right.
and Gucci, and everything else, Prada,
broke.
you're gonna be broke at the end of the day.
Yeah,
you got to have
definitely.
some type of self-discipline.
Self-discipline, because then another thing that's a big-ass factor that a lot of dudes don't think about is fucking taxes, man.
Right at the end of the year,
Right.
that taxes is coming.
Payroll
And they
taxes,
will,
too.
and they will put your ass in
Payroll
jail.
taxes.
Right,
Payroll taxes are fucking-
they coming.
They've been coming after me, man. I'm like, I hate payroll taxes the most out of taxes.
Right.
It's like, damn, I'm sick of those payroll taxes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
those
coming.
taxes, man. I tell these cats, hey, man, you're making money, you better think about it. 50 cents per dollar has got to go to fucking IRS, bro.
Yeah.
It's
Do you,
gotta
have
go
a,
to
do you have a team for that, or did you learn how to like do it yourself, kind of, just because it's your
CPA,
money?
good
So, you know what I mean? You
CPA,
can't
yeah.
trust it,
Yeah,
you know?
no, we have a very good CPA. Well, he's a CFO, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, definitely, man. I don't fuck with that,
Nice.
and I mean, it's to a point where I don't even have access to my own, and not because I don't want to. I mean, obviously, I'm the fund CEO of the company, but that's how evolved and structured this operation is. Where you know what I mean? Like, I don't touch that fucking money. That money is controlled by the CFO, and you know they pay the bills and they give me my paycheck, and I'm cool with that. You know?
That's how it is done in business, though.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
right.
exactly.
We need that number one answer that we always
Yes, that's what I was
close
gonna do. Okay, so I want to ask you one last question before we
Okay.
close. So, okay, you, Danny, as a person, as a human being, who you are, take away the businesses, take away the money, the clothes, the cars, everything, just you butt naked. Who are you?
I think I'm a guy that just wants to, you know, I get up and I continue to drive towards the goal of success. I thrive on it. I thrive on the chase to success. And, you know, I've had a lot of successes in my life, so I know that feeling. But I also know the feeling of not being successful. And I don't like that feeling. So it drives me and it really makes me work very hard at what I do. You know what I mean? So, you know, who am I? I'm a very fucking hard-ass worker. That's it.
That's what's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
And if I had to start from fucking scratch, and I'm gonna be that same fucking hard-ass worker.
That's what's
You know,
up.
so
That's fire.
And I'm glad I got that discipline of coming to the office every day. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I built a beautiful fucking office, so I can enjoy coming here and, you
This
know
is
what
your
I mean?
home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're here probably more than you are at home.
Yeah, definitely.
You know.
Absolutely. But, yeah, I mean, you know, you look at the room next door. I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at that, but it's a chill room. We got bean bags in there. We got fucking video games. I mean, there's times in there that we're fucking in there for hours creating
Enjoying
shit.
life, yes.
We got to create things. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, people want to see new things. And, you know what I mean? Thankfully, AI has now came into the picture. And it's...
I use it all the time.
Oh yeah, I'm an AI person. I love AI. You know, we've tried to implement it to what we do here, and we feel we've had the edge, you know, with our competitors because they haven't really touched into it. But you know, but when you're in this room with a bunch of thinkers and creators, that's what you do. You're gonna
That's
create
awesome.
shit. You know what I mean?
That's fire.
I love that. he
Me
does
too,
that,
man.
We got to bring you on again for this because I feel like we haven't even touched after this part. I feel like we haven't even touched a lot now.
Since
you
the
know?
since the creative mind came
Yes,
out,
I
the
love
creative
that.
thoughts.
I know, man.
Yeah, that's dope.
But I want to thank you for having us here.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you guys coming, man.
I'm glad we got to see your operation.
Yeah.
You know, upstairs. I've seen the club before.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never seen it up here. This is
behind the
dope,
scenes.
Thank
man.
you.
I'm loving it.
Well, you know, when Rico first hit me up, I was just like, man, I don't do interviews, man. Like, that's my brother's shit. My
He
brother.
told me, he said his exact words, I'm not. in
Dude,
the
you did
limelight."
really well.
Hey, but we
Thank
made
you,
it
man. I
easy
appreciate
for
that.
you,
Oh
right?
yeah, you did. Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm like, I
tell us
even went
about
live
your-
on my Instagram. I don't think I didn't even know how to do that. So
How'd you like the
it
experience?
was fucking amazing, man. Really,
Appreciate
because you know, sometimes people don't know the story. You know what I
Right.
mean? All they see is the flyers and the this and the that. But you know, our story is it's a good
They're
story. Man.
educational.
Yeah.
So
Now
you're
maybe the brothers will want to come back and do one with
all
five
of
of
us
you.
at the same
Yeah,
time.
for
That'd be
sure.
a good one.
Round
We'll
table.
probably be fighting at the middle of the. I started.
Hey,
first.
just no tequila there. Tequila there.
We're gonna put the boxing gloves on the table.
Yeah, right.
We want to thank you for coming on
Nah,
the
thank
House
you
of the
guys, man. I
Bass.
appreciate it.
And you are our ultimate howler.
Yes.
Obviously,
I appreciate
you
it.
built this.
Yes.
And you want to take it away?
I'm Ronnie Adams. This is Howls Over Bass.
I'm Jacob Casas, Shed the Sheep, House Over Bass.
Have a good one.
So we're out.
We're out.
Peace out.
Peace.
Take it easy, fellas. Cool.
We off. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, bro.
Thank
That was
you.
great. That was
That was
great.
great. Thank you, man.
I love that interview. It was like straight entrepreneur. Dude.
Oh,
I'm